Hello, in this video, I would like again to talk about communication. When I am asked to help people with communication, I normally refer to the fact that whatever way we communicate, there is a reason behind. So I don't normally prefer giving tips on how to communicate rather than going a bit deeper and looking why you behave like you do behave, why you talk like that. At the same time, I cannot have this conversation in a video. So what I would like to share are three behaviors that, three ways we communicate often in ways that are not really effective, meaning we do not achieve our goal. The first one is expressing moral judgment, dividing wrong from right, bad from good. When we address other people and we start with that foot, when we approach it like that, we create already a conflict. We are already creating two parties, two extremity, a polarization. And it's quite aggressive. It's quite confronting. It comes from all sorts of emotion, all sorts of vulnerability, all sorts of conviction about the fact that that's needed, that that's the only way, that you need to help the other come with you to the right side. At the same time, it doesn't work. It never works. It just creates confrontation, it creates a divide, and it creates a judgment. And judgment is never a good place to communicate. It's never a place where the communication started and blossoms. The other communication style that really doesn't help, that is the opposite of the judgment, is not taking responsibility, denying the responsibility. So putting the responsibility outside of yourself. So, for instance, a really common way we deny our responsibilities when we talk about, the circumstances led us to do, to say, or other people make you feel when you say that you make me feel like if someone else had the power to make someone else feel in a certain way. Likely, that's not the case. You get triggered, you react. But if you do not take that responsibility, you go in this passive attitude in the communication, and you don't take responsibility. And that's a place where the communication, well, first of all, you can polarize aggression, because these two, aggression, judgment, aggression, polarizes denial of responsibility. These two tends to be the two opposites. Unless the other person has a strong tendency, kind of a habit of going in one of these two, then even if you trigger, the other one may stay in its preferred place. But it's still a language that doesn't help the communication to blossom, and it is a place where you are giving away your power. You are basically saying, I don't have any choice. Circumstances and what other people do decides, make choices for me. And that's a place where you have no power also to handle a communication or a conflict. So that's it's like putting yourself in a corner. The last one, it's when you demand of others to do certain things. So you decide, and the communication is actually just one direction. The problem with that is, even if you manage to get what you want, in terms of results, you don't get it in a healthy way. You don't get it in a way that fosters communication relationship. You get it out of fear, a shame. You trigger a reaction to a negative emotion. You don't have a communication. You don't have consent. So that's normally used when there is a disbalance in power, for instance, parents and children. So parents may use their power to demand that children do certain things, but this balance in power happens in many environments, work environment, all sorts. But again, this is a communication style that is a bit, there is an end to it. It doesn't really foster any further communication. There is no relationship really blossoming anywhere. So these are three areas 3 ways of communicating that are quite dangerous. Let's talk also about what would be better. The alternative, what it's missing from all 3 of these, is compassion and emotion. And so being honest about how you feel, about what you need, and expressing it. But also, because the communication is a two-way road, being really open and understanding and attentive and listening to what the other person is expressing, to the feeling, to the needs that is expressing. So to the point that when someone gets angry with you and say a number of things, that you can read in between the lines and give back what you heard. I heard you're really sad about that situation. I hear you're really angry because that happened. I hear you give this responsibility. When you are in a situation where you are the only one with tools to communicate better, the way you can do that is by showing the other that you are listening, that you are hearing the message. You are also hearing the emotions and the needs that are behind what is said. It has been proven time and time again that this is really powerful. This can really change the complete narrative of that conversation. What is important, the only way you can do that is by being in a really good place in yourself, taking care of your vulnerability, being able to hold in the space for the other person, not judging, taking the responsibility of being present and mirroring back what you're hearing in terms of feelings and needs. So this is a bit, this is inspired by the work of Rosendahl on non-violent communication. It's a really quick overview. But I mentioned that it comes from that work because that work has been used for decennia in all sorts of situations, from family situation to international politics situation. So there is a deep value to this. There is a value that is challenged by the way we look at things, by the way we look at human beings. There is still a really strong under-evaluation of the importance of feeling and needs, but that's how we function. That's really how we human beings function. So when you take this into account, and when you value the pain that comes from needs not being met and feelings being hurt, you can really connect deeply with the other person. You can really show that you see the other. And the acknowledgement of needs and feelings, it's all it takes. Also in the communication in couples, the example that are shown really go to the core. When in a couple where there is always conflict, the core of the needs that each of the partner has come to light, the real core of the need, something smells. And the communication changes. A pattern that has been going on for years can smell and change, because you're not talking anymore about superficial things, the trigger, the deeper pain, but you're talking about what is actually going on a deeper level. So if you want to learn more, the book is Nonviolent Communication of Marshall Rosenberg. Until the next time.